Today we'll be discussing on SDG aligned inclusive growth through innovation, and with us we have some extremely knowledgeable people here. I will first introduce Ms. Sarita Behel, who is the Director of Bayer Foundation India. She is an Associate Certified Coach for International Coaching Federation, ICF, and she is extremely passionate about giving back to humanity and supporting people to realizing their true potential. Welcome to the forum, ma'am. The next person that we have on our dais for this discussion is Mr. Prashant Biswal, who is the Head CSR and Corporate Relations for the JSW Group. Welcome to the dais, Prashant. I have Mr. Subhashish Das, who is the CSR Head for the Jharsuguda Vedanta Group. He has 21 years of experience in external affairs, public industrial relations, periphery development, and CSR. Welcome to the dais, Mr. Das. And finally, last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Soumya Prakash Sahu, who is a graduate of TESS Mumbai, now leading the CSR initiative with Paradip Phosphate Limited here in Odisha and creating new waves. So as you can see, we have a whole range of diverse experience from diverse dynamics of the corporate here, and we will quickly initiate this discussion. It will be an open discussion, and we'll try and understand what are the different dynamics of CSR, as well as how it can help the startups and their innovations.
I come from the Kendrapada district of Odisha. Studied social entrepreneurship in EDI, Ahmedabad. Went to work in Auroville for a few months back in 2006 to basically learn renewable energy. Back those days, renewable energy was something that everybody was talking about, particularly biofuel. Got an opportunity to work on solar energy. Worked with a social enterprise called Selco in Bangalore for about 10 years. But there was always the urge to come back and contribute to the journey, development journey of the state, of my home state. So came back and started something on my own, a social enterprise again. Could not sustain it, this different story, but then got an opportunity to work with the state government on the Startup Odisha initiative that you just mentioned. Very early days in the startup ecosystem. Then we had hardly about 100 startups. KIIT TBI was probably the only incubator, even going back to the Startup India and Startup Odisha era, and that gave me an opportunity and a bigger platform to see how we can strengthen the startup ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem in the state. And in 3 years we could actually solidly build a foundation for the future startup generation in the state. Now I play this role, and now the corporate with JSW Group. JSW Group being one of the newest entrants of the Jindal family group in Odisha. It's been two and a half years in the state since JSW started the business. So I look after the CSR and corporate relationship for the group here, and we have a wide business presence in the state, starting from iron ore mines to steel plant to a port, an upcoming greenfield steel plant. And also, JSW Foundation, I've been part of JSW Foundation, has been very, very active in wherever we have business presence to ensure that we give back to the community where we take resources from, and we work on the sustainability both from social, environmental and financial sustainability of the communities around us. In this state, we are working on many different issues, starting from drinking water to health, education, infrastructure, rural infrastructure, and something which is very close to our group, that is sports. JSW Sports and Inspire Institute of Sports being one of the premier private initiative in this country to groom future Olympians. In Odisha, we are happy to partner with the government, state government, to run the one of the high performance center, that is the swimming high performance center at the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar, and we're coming up with a lot of different initiatives. But we'll talk about it once my other colleagues here speak about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prashantji. Now I'd like to request Mr. Soumya Prakash.
It's a privilege for me to sit here and share my experience with you. And thank you so much, ma'am, giving an opportunity. So I started my career with a software firm, and then I joined as a Prime Minister Rural Development Fellowship as the first batch fellow and posted in Koraput district, where we supported the district collector on implementation of different rural development program, the grassroots outreach. Then I moved to Minister of Rural Development as a program officer, and there I look after the good governance and policy aspect of MGNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi Naraga. And there I worked with a 55,000 crore budget, where we mainly look after the grassroots reach of the program, how the poorest of poor can get benefited out of the 100 days program. Then with my experience of moving in the country with our northeast to your south, so then I moved to Paradip Phosphates Limited, one of the leading phosphatic fertilizer company which has a good presence in phosphatic fertilizer. So currently it's my fifth year in Paradip Phosphates Limited, looking after heading the CSR of Advanced Group, and we are into agribusiness, we are into lifestyle, we are into engineering, and we have 23 group companies. So currently I based out in Paradip and looking after the CSR activities. So as I said, with a diversified experience, I see the plant periphery areas mostly deprived of basic indicators in water sanitation, hygiene, your livelihood programs and all. So my regular work with the CSR team and their implementation of CSR program, we majorly focus on entrepreneurship development and group building in the plant periphery areas, where we extensively work with the farmers group, extensively work with the self-help group, particularly women group, and youth for mobilization of community and heading towards a larger goal. So we have a very good support of state government, particularly farmers capacity building. We are running near about 30 mobile soil health test van across the district, and we are reaching out to near about 1 lakh farmers through soil testing on regular basis, and particularly giving soil inputs and particularly farm benefits to the farmers group. So this is a basic information about me and my company's things. So moving forward, I'll share most of my experience with you all. Looking forward to.
Thank you so much. I would request Subhashis sir to share his journey and a little bit about what his organ Vedanta is doing from this CSR foray.
Thank you, Surekha ma'am. I deem it's a pleasure on my part to attend this conclave. Basically, this is for the first time I am attending this conclave here. So, about my personal life, I belong to this state, and I have I'm having work experience for more than 20 years within Odisha only, in different development sector as well as industries, and industries so far to greenfield as well as brownfield projects. I started my career with British Council Division in one of the malaria prevention project, which was at Keonjhar, which was mostly in the tribal belt of Keonjhar, and subsequently it was replicated across the state. Basically, it was on use of impregnated mosquito net for prevention of malaria. So World Bank had taken that project also to scale it up across the state, and subsequently I continued my career with CARE International. As you know that CARE is an international organization which was supporting state government with the supplementary nutrition program through ICDS, and it was there in 8 districts, covering 8 districts by that time, and I was looking after basically the government partnership program area, which includes the capacity building and liaising with the support staff of ICDS as well as health. We are looking after the convergence aspects, because the convergence was not taking place during that time, and our major role was to monitor whether the food consumption is taking place properly at the end users level or not, and how it is benefiting to the end users, especially pregnant, lactating, and children under 6. Those are the targeted beneficiaries under ICDS system. Then I worked for ArcelorMittal at Paradip, and subsequently with JSPL at Onugul. Both are steel making industries, and I was there up to 2014. Then I came to SR Steel at Paradip. I also served there for different functions like CSR as well as liaising with the locals and stakeholder engagement aspects. And subsequently I worked for AIMS Bhubaneswar in one of the ICMR project for 1 year. I was looking after AIMS Odisha as well as AIMS Patna. They were having some studies on particularly non-communicable diseases, why the death rates are going up. Maybe it is due to contribution of from the environment or from other reasons. They were having that study, and I was there as program associate for 1 year, and then I worked for Dalmia Cement for 3 years in CSR function, and currently I am working with Vedanta Limited Jharsuguda, which is one of the biggest plant, and it's one of the world's second largest smelter at single location, having nearly 2 million ton capacity aluminum production plant. So we are having nearly 3,000 employees working there, and there are about 14,000 business partners. Those are working in that plant. And mostly the alumina comes from our Lanjigad plant, and the aluminum gets produced at Jharsuguda location. And from the Jharsuguda, that also most of the alumina also gets exported to other countries. We are having SEZ there also, and our alumina is used mostly for electrical wire and SUVs and vehicle body parts, and even flight body purpose, flight body making purpose. So over a period of time I have served in these sectors, and presently we are having a CSR team that is aligned with the business, and I am based out of Jharsuguda right now. We are having 10 members team over there, and we used to work on different thematic areas across the plant location. So we are covering 78 villages in and around our plant location.
Thank you so much, Mr. Das. Thank you for that. And some of the initiatives that Vedanta has done right now under CSR, quickly if you can share a minute.
Vedanta in Odisha is mostly supporting the upgradation of Anganwadi centers to Nandghars. Nandghar, as you know, that the name itself is connected with the caring of kids, with a focus on improving the malnutrition status of the children. And basically the Anganwadi centers are meant to address the malnutrition issues among the children under 6 years. Basically the malnutrition function is seen mostly within the first 3 years of the life. So in a Nandghar, we have provided an enabling environment to the Nandghar with a bala painting and some sort of audio visual aids, and electrifications through solar power, so that kitchen garden and support of our operation and maintenance through different business partners in different locations, so that overall the inclusive growth of the child can be visualized and that can take place within that platform. And besides also maternal and child health care also can be taken care through that Nandghar. So currently we are having 531 Nandghars are there. We are also targeting to scale it up to 700 over 1 year. So this is one of the major project which is going on across the state. In 8 districts we are covering this 700 Nandghars.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing that. I would now like to request Ms. Sarita Bell to share her personal journey and where Bayer stands in terms of CSR initiative.
I'm now with Bayer for more than 5 years, but I have worked with Bhilai Steel Plant, so we have a steel connection here. I'm also a Tessian, so Soumya is a Tessian. I've been with NGO, Center for Science and Environment, with Pfizer, Monsanto, with trade bodies, and now with Bayer, and also with the startup as a communication consultant at one phase of my life. So a lot of different things, but I think the underlying thread which I do want to share is the fact that you have to be a risk taker to be where you are and do different things and not get confined. At Bayer, I think a CSR is defined by the vision that we have, which is very simple but very profound. Health for all, hunger for none. I'll repeat that. Health for all, hunger for none. So we work in the space of healthcare, and we work in the space of food sufficiency or food security. That means with small and marginal farmers. And we also work with the Atal Innovation Mission and adopt the Atal Tinkering Labs across the country to ensure that science and STEM education is inculcated right from the beginning. Because we are very disturbed and worried about the declining interest in science among students. Pure sciences is not a favorite subject anymore. But I think something like what KIIT TBI does and all, I think this is what we need school students also to get exposed to. That there is a future if you start thinking, and the students are very innovative. Yeah. Children are born with curiosity. It's we adults who put the curiosity behind because we don't want to come across as inquisitive. But I see the innovation piece coming in very strongly from here to the work that we are doing, and happy to take this conversation ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and I'm happy to share with you KIIT TBI under one of the Erasmus programs runs a very interesting program called as the Junior Entrepreneurship Program, where the content is curated in collaboration with the Children's University of Vienna. We have already done 3 seasons, and looking at the kind of impact that we have done, we are also talking with AIM to integrate with ATL and support design a curriculum for the schools that are there in all the aspirational districts across India. So we'll be running next year an entire curriculum, and they already run a challenge, and the finalists of the challenge, we will be mentoring 50 of them so that they can do the final pitch.
And I also heard that the Atal Tinkering Lab is planning to get into aspirational districts.
Yes, so that's where we would also be working with them. Ma'am, since you mentioned that you are also a risk taker, and over the last couple of years, we have been trying to build an inclusive ecosystem in India. We're focusing more on mainstreaming the women workforce. Is there any initiatives that you would like to share with us where the SDG 5, which is inclusion for women, is highlighted, and where we are also bringing in an element of innovation, which is more than the traditional support that was given under the skill development, any differential skill that is they are being trained on, so that they can build a niche for themselves while they're getting their financial independence also?
A couple of years ago, we got into looking at how do we work with women in a very different perspective, in a different way, rather than, looking at, we do the empowerment, we do the SDG groups, and we do look at training capacity, but we really wanted to do something different. So what we have been doing since 2014 is a program called Discovering Hands. So it's your hands which discover. And what do they discover? So we are working very closely with National Association for the Blind, their Center for Disability Studies based out of Delhi. And very coincidentally, NAB was my first job also. So it's, sometimes what goes round comes round. And we run a program where we train the visually challenged ladies, girls, and most of them are those who have already had eyesight and lost it over a period of time, either due to retina pigmentosa or some other unfortunate accident. So they've seen the world at one time and now they no longer see the world. Right? So we train them, they go through a 9-month rigorous program where we use their heightened sense of touch to train them to become medical tactile examiners. So they use the sensation of touch to examine breast cancer lumps. It's a very unique program, and the reason being that with their fingertips they can detect a breast cancer lump as minute as 0.5 centimeter. A mammography detects 1.5 centimeter and above.
Wow, that's a huge difference in itself. And early detection is one of the key parameters
for breast cancer, especially. It can be easily detected at a very early stage and cured. Right? And also mammography is generally prescribed at the age of 45 and above in a normal preventive healthcare checkup. People who have breast cancer history, they may be advised to go for a breast cancer mammography, but otherwise, this whole gap exists where we could tell a woman to take care, to do a self-breast examination or get it examined by a trained person, and it never gets done. I mean, do you even know that gynecologists are not taught how to do breast self-examination or to do breast examination for patients? So who is going to do that? Right, so this is the gap that we fulfill. The girls are trained, and then of course we are also looking at employability. We have one of the oncologist doctors who has researched on this technique, and the research paper is about to be published, which will give it wide scope to be accepted by the oncologist and the gynecologist, and there is employability opportunity. We have trained 3 batches. Almost everybody is absorbed. The girl is absorbed. So for us, looking at women empowerment and looking at the SDG 5 comes with the SDG 17, which is partnership and collaboration. Because we firmly believe alone we can't do much. We need people to come in, and I would appeal to my other colleagues here, if reaching out to communities for breast cancer awareness is something that feeds into your strategy, we are happy to come and bring this program to you. I mean, that's the kind of, for me, innovation is not just the project which is innovative, which this is, but is also how do you build cross synergies, you look at collaborations which go beyond. I would have never come across my 3 colleagues. You have given us that platform.
Thank you so much.
So I think there's a lot of scope to look at innovation differently, at an innovative way.
Absolutely. That's where we are all headed and where we should head if we are looking at exponential impact. And ma'am, just to continue, there are a lot of people who are doing extensive community work here in Odisha. If they wanted to be a part of this program, is there a training center here in Odisha where they can get connected to, or how do we train that entire community of women and girls in Odisha who would be interested and fall in that category that you mentioned?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I need to come back on that. But we are at Rayagada, respirational district at the moment in Odisha. And what have we done?
For this training center?
Not this training center. This training center is only in Delhi at the moment and in Bangalore. But the training is very expensive. It's a 9-month residential program.
Exactly. So if we have something in Odisha,
so if
people
you have a
can
corporate
think
who could co-partner with us to sort of co-fund this program and sponsor, we would be very happy to look at that. Or if you have communities where you want the awareness camps to be held, we would be very happy to work on that. Or if you have corporates or even your students who want to run an employee engagement program for your faculty, for your students to get awareness, we could run that for you. And that could be virtual also.
Right. So maybe we can look at a train the trainer concept, where some of them could be trained and then they can do impart the training here for the women.
Yes, it could. But the training would be on self-breast examination. Only the MT can be trained. Only the visually challenged girl can be trained. A normal person can be only trained how to talk about it.
Right. That means we need a training center here in Odisha. We really need to start looking at
it. Self-breast examination, yes. the MT can train.
No, but I'm looking at the MTA because that is very interesting in itself, and maybe we can look at collaborations with other corporates.
Sure.
Because women, as we know, especially the visually impaired, for them to travel to one location within the state is easier, but to travel for 9 months to a distant location becomes a challenge
No,
from
that's
the
a residential program. That's why. It's a residential training program. We understand those challenges. But your question makes me share that at Rayagara we also have a telemedicine center where we also work with farmer community. So we are running this Discovering Hand camps over there so that the community benefits. So I'm very happy to share more details as well.
Sure, thank you so much. I think that's a very interesting program and wonderful synergy.
To supplement here, we can also explore possibilities for providing this sort of training program, because we do have a Balco Cancer Medical Research Center at Balco, and it's a big setup, and mostly the patients from the BSKY patients, those are connected from Odisha also, they can have healthy treatment over there, and the team can also come down to Odisha.
Wonderful. That's
also
awesome. So we have SDG 17 happening right here.
Yes, screening can be done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We'll definitely explore off stage. Coming back to, I would like to ask Prashant now. Prashant has had a very diverse 360-degree understanding, from being an entrepreneur himself to working with social innovation to promoting social innovation in Startup Odisha, and now looking at the CSR aspect, and with our Prime Minister extensively focusing on innovations in India and entrepreneurship. Where do you think the corporates and the responsibility of corporates to support innovation comes in, and where do you think we can look at synergies from the CSR perspective?
Innovation is now, if you look at where India is moving as economy towards $5 trillion economy, innovation and the startups have to be the driving force behind this. I think the Honorable Prime Minister has also himself mentioned, startups are going to be the engine of growth for this $5 trillion economy dream. Now, where do corporates come into this? See, if you look at the whole ecosystem, one entity or one segment cannot build it. It's a collective responsibility. Often ecosystems are not built by government. Ecosystems are rather facilitated by government. Ecosystems are normally built by the entrepreneurs and the industries themselves. If you look at how the entrepreneurship ecosystem has evolved, particularly over the last 10 years in India, it's a marvelous journey. You look at where we were 10 years back, and compared to the bigger startup ecosystem in the world, like the US, the Israel, and now where we are. We are adding almost a unicorn a month, or more than a unicorn a month, despite the pandemic hitting us. Corporates do have a big role to play, not only in terms of CSR but also in terms of mainstream business. There's a startup called Innocule. I'm not sure if they're here. Innocule makes specialty chemicals, right? They're an incubator of KIIT TBI. Now they make specialty chemical for steel industry, and now I think JSW has been one of their biggest customers from last couple of years. We have been a adapter of technology innovation, and that's how it's a win-win situation. I'll tell you how does give corporates and particularly the CSR arms the opportunity to invest in startup ecosystem through incubators. That is allowed. Now, let's not talk about the law. Let's talk about the intent. As a group, we believe in technology innovation, particularly when addressing social issues. If I can tell you a few anecdotes, in the mining area of Odisha, if you see what are the prevalent issues that affects the community and the people on a daily basis. These are, normally हम बोलते हैं रोटी कपड़ा मकान, बिजली पानी. These are the same issues that still is challenge for people on a daily basis. When I joined about almost a year and a half back, we were spending almost 2 to 3 crore in delivering drinking water through tankers. And now, when I looked at it, I said, if I as an individual am not willing to drink this water, how can I make the people drink this water? So we came up with the challenge saying that we will create access to clean drinking water for our people. Now, how does that happen? It has to be a combination of a social engineering as well as a technology innovation. Now, almost been a year when we started this. Now, almost 60 to 70% of our villages have access to clean drinking water, not the tanker water, but clean drinking water, and that is being done in partnership with a startup from here, right? So these are automated, solar powered, then sustainability comes in, solar powered automated drinking water systems. Now we're working closely with this few startups to ensure the quality of water improves. The second thing I would say, in healthcare. So if you can always get a doctor, have a dispensary or clinic in the rural setup, but then diagnosis has been a challenge. So the doctor can only do better job when it is he or she is supported by diagnosis. Now we worked with another startup who again grew up from here, Medtel. Dr. Lalit was here or is going to be here, I think. So we worked with them to deploy digital health diagnostic kits in the remotest parts, where we regularly screening different health parameters of people. Now that has led to something very interesting. Now you see government of Odisha has launched a program called Amlan, that is to prevent anemia. Now, how do you prevent anemia? When you can only do it when you have the data, right? So over the last 1 year, since we deployed digital diagnostic kits, we have almost data of 30,000 people, and almost 70% of women who walk into our clinics are anemic, severely anemic. The hemoglobin level going as low as 4.5. So now we come to the preventive healthcare. Now we were doing curative. Now this data, is going to help us create preventive healthcare. So that's how technology innovation comes into the picture. Where, when we're trying to deliver services through CSR initiatives, it is a win-win situation for both the corporate and the startup ecosystem, the innovators, to deliver something which works. The third thing I would mention before I give your mic back to you is something very interesting we are trying to do. That is on the hygiene, public hygiene, sanitation facilities for women, particularly working women. When you travel on our highways, whether state or national highways, it's very difficult to find hygienic toilets, right? Especially for women. Now, there are enormous number of public toilets built, but it's not maintained. Now, how do you solve that problem? It's been a generation long problem, and nobody has really cracked that challenge. Now, what we have come up with, again, we are doing a pilot and the different models we are doing. We have come up with automated auto clean toilets, then coupled with a cafe. Now the toilet and the cafe comes as a package. Planning is these are women exclusive toilets, maintained and managed by women. The cafe is going to be run by a woman entrepreneur. So the profit generated from the cafe is going to be used in maintaining these toilets. Now we don't know whether it's going to work or not. Maybe time will tell. But at least we are now bringing technology, entrepreneurship at the grassroots level, involving women to create public hygienic facility for women. So these are some of the examples. I personally believe that the corporates can have a win-win situation while adopting innovation at different levels, both in terms of business as well as in terms of corporate social responsibility initiatives, and it's going to be good for the community. also create value for the society at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prashant. That was an interesting example where you are engaging the community, increasing their livelihood while integrating a technology element. So you would be supporting the startup directly in including. And as we know, incubators are now the hub of innovations, where you can find a lot of diverse innovations at one place. Where do you think in this whole matrix that incubators come in, and where do you think the synergies between a corporate and an incubator can happen?
The examples that I gave you were with mature technologies, right? So where it's deployment ready, it's already in the market, or market ready. So we take the risk of deploying and giving them a marketplace, right? Now, when it comes to technologies which are yet to be deployment ready, right? So the element of risk is there, and that's where the CSR money comes in. That's where Schedule 7 there's a point, there's a clause where we can, as CSR in arms, we can invest money in the startups in form of grant to the incubators. It has to go through the incubators. So that is something which we can do, and we are in fact doing now. So there are two examples I'll give you. One is we partnered with Social Alpha last year to in a acceleration program where we are now supporting 3 startups in the WAS space, waste to energy and waste to wealth space. We have a very big steel plant in Vijayanagar, Karnataka, in Bellary district, where we are not only giving them money, we are also giving them the township of about 15,000-20,000 people to deploy and pilot this technology. So that is now happen as we speak. That is now happening. The other thing which we are doing here in Odisha, we are partnered with STPI to so we have jointly launched a program called Mining Challenge. Now, Odisha being a mining economy state, a very large chunk of our GDP comes from the mining sector. We have only one startup, a huge space in that particular segment for startups, for innovation to come up. And we as a company who has mining interest, and my colleagues sitting here from Vedanta and Om is sitting here. So we all of us as industry partners can come in and support innovations in this space, which can in turn help our business grow, right, or become more productive or more efficient. So we have received the mining challenge, has received an overwhelming response of almost 200 innovators have come up and applied in that challenge, and as we speak the process of shortlisting them is on. I hope we get few good innovations coming out of that program, and we as a group will be very happy to take them on board, support them financially, give them exposure to our business and minds to do the pilot, etc. So we are absolutely open to look at that. One more thing I would like to reveal here, that I'm talking to Dr. Swar to also come up with a national level grant challenge on innovations for people with special needs. That is something we are working closely, and hopefully we'll start it together very soon. There has been no such program across the country, and there is a very large segment in the society with special needs, from children to elderly, and innovations also need to be inclusive for them, whether it's mobility, communication, or food, or medication, treatment, etc. That is something we as a group will be very, very happy to partner, and something comes out, we'll be very happy to deploy it as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's very interesting, and especially the mining. I hope there are solutions for the air pollution problem, with the AQI index in mines being one of the major reasons why people don't want to move into that area. And for the disabilities also, that's also in looking broadly and integrating inclusiveness, which is very important going forward. We all know that social causes and CSRs are time bound, but with sustainability now coming to the forefront, it would be interesting to understand how the CSR dynamics have changed with sustainability in the exit terms. I would like to request Mr. Somya to throw some light on that.
Okay, a company build an asset, but it's all depend for the community to take it forward. And as per the policy, if you'll go by the CSR rules, and you cannot support beyond 4 years, that is inception plus 3 years. So here comes to the part of the responsibility of the corporate, how you design your activities, your program, so that the community can get benefited out of it from the beginning of the year, as well as take it forward after you exit from the program. So I've just taken an example here, like we are associated with KIIT TBI from last 3 years. So where the technology percolated to the ground. So we initiated a sanitary pad making unit, which is biodegradable. It is 99.9% biodegradable, which is tested with a lab. Okay, so here when we are taking it to the community benefit, okay, so I'm talking about sanitation, which is a SDG 6. So where it is very much important to touch the aspect of SDG where you are working, your program is working for the community. So here a group of women trained how to make the sanitary pads, biodegradable sanitary pad, and make it marketed in the community. So the project started like that. When we went to the community, we saw there is a issue with sanitation and the particular issues of sanitary pads among the adolescent girls as well as the women group. So we come up with an idea and discuss with KIIT TBI. Surekha has spearheaded that discussion, and thank you so much, Surekha, for giving us that,
And those who are
technology.
here, the ladies are here, have set up this stall. Please do visit them.
Yes. And currently they are marketed it and with the community with the SDG marketing channel. It's not a pure marketing channel through the SDG movement. We have a huge SDG group active in villages, which is again supported, recognized by the government of Odisha with the Mission Shakti. And when we initiated that program, we saw how it can touch to the schools and the colleges. So the trained women are now making this sanitary pad and marketed it in the community, and it's a huge benefit. And the group where the 12 women are engaged directly, there's a zero income. Now each women are earning 5,000 per month with the selling of the sanitary pads. And you'll absolutely thrilled to know that during this pandemic period also, we are getting huge demand from the community to get supplied in the community. And during the disaster period, like last flood, we supplied to the government. We supplied to the government to reach out to the vulnerable people. So what best we can give? It's not about business. It is about social development of the community and get engaged your work in the social benefit. So, sustainability, it's say when a woman from zero income to reach out to the 5,000 additional income to their kitty. Just imagine. So their interest come here, like I'm getting for my 4 hours of engagement, I'm getting 5,000 per month. So again, it can reach up to 12,000 if we go by the full production of the entity. So it's all depends how you formulate a program, how you reach out to the community, and the community get benefited from the day one till your exit.
Thank you so much. I think what I would like to also add here, beyond the economic growth that is there is a very interesting growth in the woman's self-worth in terms of her ability to crystallize her idea and speak up in the family forum as well as in the community forum, leading to a better community also, which is very interesting. I think that has also happened, and we have seen women who were very shy to speak in the beginning, now very clear about what are their priorities and their spend also.
So this is just an example, the only example what we associate with KIIT TBI. But apart from that, we have 4 micro enterprises running in the villages. One is the agri, which is the group of 350 women are engaged in mushroom cultivation. It's organic, and the demand is so that it got marketed their doorstep only. Okay, so they are getting benefited a handsome income in their accounts. Second, we have a terracotta group which is marketing every year. They are marketing 20 lakh rupees. It's a Ormas has recognized it. So 20 lakh rupees for a group of 30 members. Just imagine. So we just initiate the technology and the modern equipments to manufacture that traditional things to modern things. That is second. Third, we have a women farmers. So there are near about 260 odd members. The women farmers are get engaged in the field. They have a modern technology-based nursery. They are managing from nursery from the seed to the plant, and they are getting benefited out of that per a season. 60,000. I'm talking about one group where near about 18 members are there. So they are getting 60,000 in a season. In a 3 months time to selling that saplings, they're getting 60,000. So now you imagine when you're getting benefited out of a grant. So as a Paradip Phosphates Limited, I can say I've given a grant where the community is engaged and community asset being made, and now the community is getting benefit from the day, as a gestation period is over. So that lies that the sustainability is there when you make them engage from day one, given them capacity building, now handed over to that asset to that group so that they can benefit it. So it's a win-win situation for the group as well as the CSR point perspective.
Thank you so much. I think that's very interesting, and looking at your appetite for technological innovations, I'm sure we can look at deploying more innovations with the upcoming projects that are there. I would now like to ask one last question. I know we are all getting a little late for lunch. Subhashish sir, just wanted to understand. I know Vedanta has been doing a lot of initiatives, and especially during the COVID time, you have reached out to the community, done so much for the community. A lot of traditional work, setting up of infrastructure has been done. But with innovation coming in, how is the management now positioned to be open-minded about introducing innovations in their existing as well as upcoming projects?
Actually, after the post-COVID situation, we have started with one of the projects that is Vidyagraha, through which we are catering to 5 government schools, targeting for 600 students, through which we have initiated both classroom teaching in specific subject areas through online as well as offline studies. Like we have taken the support of one of the business partner for that, and we get it recorded as per the state government board of secondary education syllabus for this year. We have chalked out the chapter wise pre-record classes, and we play it through the classes at different schools, and through offline also they used to go to different schools for running these classes in absence of teachers, and to villages also where from the accessibility is not is a problematic area in those areas. So in that way that is benefiting to the students, particularly for 8, 9, 10 students of that area. So this is one sort of innovation support we have provided. Another one is we are having one Subhalakshmi cooperative through which we have connected with 338 self-help groups having 4,000 women members. So we have also digitalized the collection as well as the deposit of the money through digitalization, and so that the keeping of record could be easier on their part to have a transparent accounting system, so that they can give more time towards developing entrepreneurship. And today they are getting more time towards creating new avenues for this entrepreneurship model. And more nearly 1,580 members that are engaged into different farm as well as non-farm based activities.
Thank you so much, sir. It is wonderful to see that within the CSR thematics designated by the individual organizations, everybody has been trying to support innovations, bring in an element of innovations within the projects. It's very exciting to see that. And I think there is also gives an indicator of hope to know that there is the scope of promoting more innovative projects which will have an exponential impact on the community, and where they can build bridges, build projects in collaborations with the incubators, either to reach the ideas or to work with the ideas so that the community as a whole inclusively can grow and build better tomorrows together. I would like to thank the panel here for this very interesting discussion, which I'm sure everybody enjoyed. Thank you so much, and I'd like to take a moment to hand small mementos.